Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are at. This is Dr. Diane Sanchez, and I'm going to review the contingency theory of leadership. This is what we're going to review: the approach perspective of the theory, leadership styles, situational variables, research findings of leader style effectiveness, and how does the contingency theory approach work. The contingency theory is a leader match theory, and Fielder is a wonderful theorist and researcher. And this theory says that it tries to match leaders to appropriate situations. Leaders' effectiveness depends on how well the leader's style fits to the context. And Fielder's generalizations about which styles of leadership are best or worst are based on empirically grounded generalizations. In short, the contingency theory is concerned with styles and situations, and this provides the framework for effectively matching the leader and the situation. So, again, the definition of an effective leadership is contingent on matching a leader's style to the right setting. And like I've said, there's two. The assessment is based on two things: leadership style and situational variables. So Fielder's contingency theory says that there's two leadership styles. And it's based on the least preferred co-worker scale, and that's on page 134 of your book. If you'd like to take the assessment, I highly recommend it. First, you would be a low LPC if you're task motivated. That's leaders are concerned primarily with reaching a goal. If you're high LPC, you're going to be relationship motivated. Leaders are concerned with developing close interpersonal relationships. So in this contingency theory, there's only two leadership styles: low LPC or high LPC. Now we're going to go into the situational variables. There's three factors that we have to consider. First is leader-member relations, task structure, and position power. Let's address leader-member relations. It refers to the group atmosphere and the degree of confidence, loyalty, and attraction of followers for the leader. So if you have a good atmosphere, you're going to have a high degree of your employees trusting you, liking you, having a positive relationship. If you have a poor group atmosphere, your employees are going to have a little or no trust in you. There's friction that exists, and it's an unfriendly environment. The second factor is task structure. So the degree to which requirements of a task are clearly spelled out. So if you have a high work structure, that means requirements, rules are clearly stated and known. There's few alternatives to a passive accomplishment. The task completion can be clearly demonstrated, and there's correct solutions exist for the tasks. Low structure is requirements or rules not clearly stated or known. There's many alternatives to accomplishing a task. The task completion cannot be clearly demonstrated or verified, and then there's an unlimited number of correct solutions that exist. The third factor is position power, and this is the designation, the amount of authority a leader has to reward or punish followers. So if you have a strong position power, you have the authority to hire, fire your employees, give raises to them, increase their rank or pay. If you have a weak position power, you have no authority to hire, fire, give raises, or increase their rank or pay. So those are the three situational variables: leader-member relations, task structure, and position power. So what this says is the three factors that determine the favorableness of various situations. Situations that are rated most favorable are good leader-follower relations, defined task, which is high structure, and strong leadership position power. The least favorable is obviously poor leader relations, unstructured tasks, low structure, and weak position power. And then moderately favorable falls in between these extremes. So here is the matrix. We've talked about the leader-member relations, task on the left, structure, and power, position power on the left. That is the things we just talked about. And then on the bottom of this is the leadership styles. Remember, low LPC is task-oriented, and high LPC is relationship-oriented. So based on the research findings, the contingency theory states that certain styles are effective in certain situations. People who are task-motivated, low LPC, will be effective in both very favorable and very unfavorable situations. That is, in situations that are going along very smoothly or situations that are out of control. People who are relationship motivated, high LPC, are effective in moderately favorable situations. That is, in situations in which there is some degree of certainty, but things are neither completely under their control nor completely out of their control. Reasons for leader mismatch is the LPC, which is task orientation, doesn't match a particular situation. Stress and anxiety can result. Under stress, leaders revert to the less mature coping style learned in early development. And then leaders' less mature coping style results in poor decision making and consequently negative work outcomes. How does the contingency theory work? First of all, it focuses on assessing the three situational variables in any organizational context. And remember, that's leader-member relations, task structure, and position power. And they can be placed in one of 8 categories on the contingency leadership theory model, which is that matrix that we showed you previously. After the nature of a situation is determined, the fit between the leader's style and the situation can be evaluated. By measuring leaders' LPC score and the 3 situational variables, it's possible to predict whether a leader will be effective in a particular setting. So it's important to point out that the contingency theory stresses that leaders are not effective in all situations. If your style is a good match for the situation in which you work, you will succeed at the job. If your style does not match the situation, you'll probably fail. And this is designating what low LPC, task-oriented is, and the effective categories. It goes back to the matrix. High LPC, relationship-oriented, those are the effective categories. And so if you go back to the matrix, you can really see that these numbers in that matrix. If individual style matches appropriate category in the model, the leader will be effective according to Fielder. If individual style does not match appropriate category in the model, leaders will be not as effective. So here's an example situation. Leader-member relations are good. Task structure is high. Position power is high. It would be category 1. Individual is task-oriented, will be effective. By measuring leaders' LPC score, and that is, high or low LPC, and the 3 situational variables, which is leader-member relation, task, and position power, it's possible to predict whether a leader will be effective in a particular setting. So the strengths of this theory, the contingency theory, has been tested by many researchers and found to be valid and reliable approach to explaining how to achieve effective leadership. The contingency theory has broadened the scope of leadership understanding from a focus of a single best type of leadership, like trait approach, to emphasizing the importance of a leader's style and the demands of different situations in the workplace. Because contingency theory is predictive, it provides relevant information regarding the type of leadership that is most likely to be effective in particular context. Now, on a personal note, I worked at American Airlines after 9/11, and we used this contingency theory to determine who would be most appropriate in our succession planning process. We lost a lot of executives after 9/11. And we had a highly stressful work environment. It was a situation that we had never managed before, and we really used Fielder's contingency theory in our succession planning process. The other strengths, contingency theory contends that leaders should not expect to be effective in every situation. Thus, companies should strive to place leaders in optimal situations according to their leadership style. Very much what I talked about with my example of American Airlines in 9/11. The contingency theory supplies data on leadership styles that could be useful to organizations in developing leadership profiles for human resources planning. Criticisms. It fails to fully explain why leaders with particular leadership styles are more effective in some situations than others. The LPC scale validity, as it does not correlate well with other standard leadership measures. It's cumbersome to use in real-world settings, and it fails to adequately explain what should be done about a leader situation mismatch in the workplace. And I think that's probably the biggest criticism, that it doesn't, the theory doesn't explain what to do. And that's why I suggest succession planning and really understanding, your structure, your member relations, and your position power in your particular organizations. It's useful in answering a multitude of questions about the leadership of individuals in various types of organizations. So this theory applies pretty well if you're answering multiple questions about leadership in individuals in your various types of organizations. So you may have very different leadership styles and departments. You have different task orientation or task structure, leader-member relations, and position powers, depending on departments. It may provide you a good assessment tool. It's a helpful tool to assist upper management in making changes to lower-level positions to ensure good fit between an existing manager and a certain work context. And we did this at American Airlines also. Remember, our work environment changed immensely, and so we did a lot of movement based on the leader-member relations, task structure, and position power, so that we would set up our employees and our management employees to be successful. So I hope you have found this webinar helpful. Again, if you have any questions, please post online. Thank you for attending today.